You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's True Blood After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's True Blood After Show.
Hi, everybody. Bing is for doing, and we are doing the latest True Blood After Show. Are you excited?
I'm just excited to hear your voice. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was a very sultry entrance.
Thank you very much,
So
Showman.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is True Blood Season 5, Episode 5. It's very fortuitous numbers for us tonight. Let's boot and rally. And guess what? My wonderful co-host just taught me what that meant. I am Roth Cornet here with...
Hi, I'm Yerman.
And I'm JC Rubio.
As you can see, JC and Yerman did not send me the text about wearing my gray vest tonight.
We didn't send her to
Had I known. If you guys are not watching, they are both wearing matching, very sporty, very, very attractive gray vests.
This is the first time that Yerman and I are out since the doctor separated us.
Yes.
Yes, so-
Apparently, the procedure didn't take, and there have been some complications.
Well, this is a little unusual for us, but just to get everybody up to speed about what's going on, two things are unusual this week. One is that our beautiful and wonderful co-host Jenna Bush had to have an emergency appendectomy. So let's send her lots of love. Her Twitter is at Jenna Bush, B-U-S-E-H, like the beer, not the president. She would love to hear from you. So she's not here tonight, but she sends her well wishes to the True Blood lovers of the world. And then also, we were supposed to have a special guest tonight, a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Todd Lowe, who is none other than Terry Bellafor, who we love very much on the show. He's delayed. We're hoping he's going to make it in, so we're going to sort of chat away about the episode, which was very full of things to talk about. And then if he makes it in, we'll do a little interview with him, and it'll be awesome. If not, we'll reschedule him, and that will be equally, if not more, awesome. But we're going to have a great time tonight, so stay tuned in. Hey, and while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes.
Yes.
Send us a little love on iTunes. Listen, last season, AFTERBUZZ was sort of starting out, like you guys know, and we think the other hosts were great, but we have a whole new season here. So if you go to iTunes and you see some comments that are not about our current season, please go ahead and leave a lovely one about us, because we read them all, and it makes us feel really good, and it helps our day.
For sure. And definitely with you guys leaving comments, we can answer them possibly on future episodes if you have questions of the show.
Yeah.
Especially questions to possibly ask if we can't get Todd, if Todd doesn't make it in time, maybe for a future episode. So
Absolutely.
definitely just be really interactive with us, and chat roll if you guys are watching us. Of course, send us your questions, and we'll see if we can answer them if we have time.
Yes. Thank you, Jesse. So let's start out, guys. Let's talk about a little la business and the brouhaha. So someone here has talked about a zombie Jesus.
Who might that be?
I believe it was me, but listen, what do you think about, some questions have arisen. Okay. I think in terms of what's going on with Lafayette, because it's clear that something is trying to get a hold of him, and he is called out for help from Jesus. Jesus is obviously trying to make an appearance to give him that help, but someone is spiritually, physically, not physically, because he's dead, but literally has sewed his lips shut so that he can't communicate with Lafayette. Who is behind this? What has happened?
What do you think? I think it's, obviously Ruby Jean has sealed his lips shut so that Jesus doesn't communicate with Lala. However,
why though?
No, what I was wondering, I was under the impression that actually she was going to help bring them together, because that was the one time that she saw Lala happy, was when he was with Jesus.
Right. Well, she said, okay, I'll tell him, and where have you been? So I think that there may be, and I could be wrong on this, but I feel like there may be another party that's trying to keep Jesus from Lafayette.
Oh, snap!
Who might that be? Yeah, that's news to me.
Well, there's his whole family. There was his whole family that were sort of on the darker side of magic.
Absolutely.
You know?
And he was at odds with that legacy. He was kind of wanting to step away from it.
And I feel like that if anything, they understand Lafayette has a lot of power. You know, he has a lot of natural power.
Right.
And that family is probably after it. They want to tap into that power. And so they're trying to take him over.
You know, and it makes sense, actually, because I think Lala, his storyline has been kind of light this season.
Yeah, it has.
You know, he's kind of fallen back, and you know, bringing up now Terry and all the other characters. You know, Tara being a vampire, and he's kind of fallen to the side. So I think maybe Alan Ball and the team, they just want to bring his storyline back for the second half of the season, perhaps.
Right.
But it's so hard with so many storylines. Like
I know.
Yeah.
But we're happy to see Ruby Jean, are we not?
Absolutely.
I mean, do you like this? Is this a character you guys are happy to revisit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm glad that they're bringing. I like the fact that they'll bring back people, just even if it's just for a little bit, to let us know that they are creating a complete world. It's not like we just have these glimpses of people and then they never come again. It's they let you know that they're still around. This is a complete world that they've created, and these people are constantly in that world. It's not like you don't forget about them. They're there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like that Jesus is trying to speak to Lafayette and warn him about what it is, this demon or this demon spirit that's kind of after him, that wants to take over and use his power for very nefarious purposes. It looks like bleach in soup.
Well, didn't Jesus' family want Jesus to carry on the family legacy?
Yes.
Because Jesus was also a very powerful, a latently very powerful bruja.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, brujo.
Bruja.
So, so the fact that all of a sudden his family is exposed to Lafayette, and they realize his latency and his power,
right?
That totally fits in with what you were saying earlier about how they might be kind of coming after him, or various elements in that family we may not have even know about are coming after for Lala now.
Exactly. And you guys, it sort of plays into what we've said is one of the major themes of the season, which is your lineage.
Right.
You know?
Maker and I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if they did a piece where they did that preview for the upcoming season where they said the hunted now become the hunter.
Yeah.
Right. The hunted become the hunter. Now that could mean, I love that you brought that up. We'll probably have to circle back to that a little bit, but I feel like that could be about one of two things or both things. It could be the human beings. Right, you know, we've seen a little bit of that this episode.
Right.
Rising up, and or the fairies going after the vampires.
I just don't know how they're going to divvy up enough time. Whose storyline is going to have to
take precedence?
Yes. Maybe, we'll talk about, Sam and Luna a little bit later, but there's something's got to, just take a seat back because there's so many things going on this season.
Well, the piece that doesn't totally fit to me actually is Lafayette. The other pieces are sort of coming together in a more natural way. They feel like they're kind of like flowing together a little bit. So I think Lafayette may continue to take a little bit of a backseat this season, only to emerge in a central storyline next season. I think they may be laying the groundwork for what may play out in a bigger way next season. I could be wrong.
No, I think that's a great theory. It's very possible that they could be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, the whole idea of the lineage is something I think that they're playing with this season. And then, we'll see how that plays out. But let's talk about more lineage business if we can. Let's actually let's shake things up here and move along to Jason and his lineage. Because this was we haven't talked that much about this, but this has been a huge shift for him.
Absolutely. And as you can see in his performances too, there's a quietness that he hasn't been able to display in his performances before, and it's really nice to see him kind of all of a sudden maybe just develop gravitas right before our very eyes. He's kind of settling into this role that he sees himself becoming more and more, finding a place for himself. Like, okay, here's what I think I need to do. That kind of look in his eyes is great to see, because up till now he has been kind of one-dimensional in one way or another.
I've always loved Jason. I mean, I know all the boys are going to think it's because you want to see him topless.
Well, don't worry. You got your shot today. This episode, you weren't let down. Again, I mean, if you're gonna wake up after fairies mess with you, you might as well wake up naked.
You know what?
Why not?
The man has never let me down. I love this character because he is funny. He is so good-hearted. I feel like Ryan Quantine's character is I'm saying as a human being, the actor as a human being, I feel like his character and his spirit, I really mean this, shines through that character. So somebody else could have played this and you would have thought this is like the most worthless douchebag ever. But because
so he made something of it, sure.
Absolutely.
He's so talented and he's so good-hearted. I think as a human, I mean, this is my guess, that as a human being, he is legitimately a good-hearted person. And that comes through. And Jason is so good-hearted.
How is this season 5, different than season 2? Because Jason's always looking. He's always looking for some sort of fulfillment. He's always been searching. And I think you brought up a great point, finding out about the fairies. And now he's going to find out a little bit more about himself. And the fact that it seems like this anger towards vampires is simmering once again, like season 2.
Yeah.
So how are they different? Are they, I don't want to say, are they retreading season 2 and Jason's, emotional arc, or what's different about it?
That's a great question. And my answer to that, me personally, would be something you alluded to already, is I think it's a little bit of a different approach to it. In second season, it seemed like he was trying to find external things to concentrate on. I think this development now is coming from within. So before, he was looking out around at everything around him to find out, to tell him, or to let him know what his purpose might be. Whereas now he's coming into decisions and realizations about himself on his own.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, though, I think that's really, really an excellent point, because it is a little bit Fellowship of the Sunny, and Jason always has had a hostility toward the vampires, other than Jessica. And the connections he's made through Sookie, but he has always had this hostility toward them, and he doesn't like them, and he doesn't trust them. Well, now he's pissed. But more than that dream, which was some creepy edible business with the mom, I was like, this is maybe the most disturbing thing I've ever heard on True Blood, really. I'm talking about Lorena's head spinning, everything, all of it. So disturbing. But what's really interesting is that they tied together his sort of like reckoning that he's having with himself, with his maybe sexual addiction or where that's springing from, and what happened to his family. And I feel like that anger is getting married together, and it's him deciding for himself what he's going to do about it, and where he stands.
Where does he go? I mean, I wanted to ask a quick question. Why were they both naked? When, Andy and Jason, when they woke
Besides
up?
the fact that this is True Blood?
Right.
Okay.
Because why not? We don't know, but they don't know. They don't know how they got home.
And I asked this last week, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And I believe you guys said possibly that they were in limbo.
Yeah.
Because why didn't time elapse for them?
Right. Well, he makes an allusion to, right? At one point, Jason is asking, he's like, what year is it? And I thought they were going to kind of let us know, okay, either no time has passed, but he just said, okay. And then we just were made to assume that everything's back normal. Time didn't necessarily pass away. But it may not be the same lapse of time, because you guys were making allusion to the fact that this bar, whatever this dimension or whatever it is, it's not the same as the fairy world.
It's
so
not.
time obviously may not pass the same way.
Yeah, I don't think it is the fairy world. And I also don't think it's a refugee camp. I think it's a military installation. That's what I think it is.
Really?
Yes, I think it's nothing near a refugee camp. I think it is a straight up military installation, and that we have not seen at all what the fairies are, and that they're microwave fingers, like Sookie was calling them, which I loved. I feel like what they are doing there is gathering power. And I feel like that they gather power through sex, and they are glamming and gathering power and building an army, and they are about to come out
For the war.
on some fools with some microwave stuff.
Yeah, for the record, as a dude, I would just like to say, if that's what a military camp is like, I want to go to there.
I agree.
Thank you very little. Moving on.
No, and there's in next week's preview, you see them all. They're back at the strip bar, which is that run by Claude? That's
what they're not making clear, right? Because it is run by Claude in the books. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, but Jason's parents are, FYI, in the book. Is this a spoiler? Spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled for the book, skip ahead like a minute.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
In the books, the fairies kill his parents, not the vampires. The fairies kill his... Thank you. And this is what I think, friends. The fairies have lied to him. And that, in fact, the separate fairy faction did kill his parents, not the vampires, and that the fairies are straight up trying to take the vampires down from every angle available.
And they're just pawns. I got it.
Pawns.
Yes, because in next week's preview, they show they're back at the club, and they're zapping.
They're all like...
And it's... Okay, we're a bit of a nerd. I did watch it, like I got the East Coast feed.
Yes.
I paused. We kept on DVRing, we kept on rewinding it, and it's Jason that they're zapping. It looks like it's Jason. We were making. I was.
You actually tried to.
Yeah, we were trying to figure it out, and I'm almost positive it's Jason that they're zapping with their powers.
That's interesting.
So what it tells me is that he is on that hunt. He's trying to find out, what the fairies have, what knowledge, what nugget of knowledge to help them piece together what happened to his parents.
That's interesting. Or that could be. I mean, it could be that they're trying to attack him, or it could be a transfer of power, like that Jason's going to be one of their weapons. And they may be giving him power that Sookie has that he doesn't have.
Oh, that's a nice twist. I like that.
Maybe.
Right there.
Once again, a place somewhere that wants Jason. Somewhere where he feels like he belongs.
Yeah, because the thing about Jason that I love the way the show has developed him, because he remains who he is in fundamental ways, like you're saying. Like there's certain aspects of his character that remain the same, which I enjoy when writers are able to do that. But he still develops just a little bit, and I feel like this could be another one of those times where poor Jason is on the path to try and do the right thing, and gets led astray by the wrong people.
Well, that would be a great dichotomy for me as well as a viewer to see Sookie's fairy powers allow her to kind of become, it allows her to unveil the basically her relationship with humanity. She becomes an integral part. She can delve into the human experience, whereas it would be great to see if Jason did have some sort of fairy powers awakened or given to him, that he would be made to be at odds with humanity. So they're coming from their sister, brother. They both have fairy powers. One is basically embracing humanity. The other one is against it. That would be a great thing to see.
That's a great comic book.
Yeah.
I would read that comic book.
Yeah.
I really would. I don't think that Jason will ever go. I just really think he's too good-hearted to go up against humanity. But he might go against the vampires and then lose his way a little bit that way.
I definitely think it's something towards the vampires.
Yeah.
Really, you can see it seething underneath him.
Yeah.
It's all throughout the episode, you could see it just coming. It's
rage.
coming. I think it's simmering in. And speaking of Sookie.
Yes. Let's speak of Sookie, because let's talk about the worst three-way ever. Matter of fact, it was not even a three-way. It was a five-way. It was Bill, Eric, Alcide, Sookie, and the throw-up.
Yes.
By the way, okay, explain to the listeners and the viewers what, because I didn't know this. Explain what
I did
boot
not
and
know
rally
that
means.
boot and rally is not necessarily, it may not be a commonly known thing. My interpretation of boot and rally, I'd heard it for many years. It's the concept where you party way too hard and all of a sudden you're sick, but you want to continue to party. So you boot, i.e. throw up, and you rally back to partying.
Nasty business.
Boot and rally.
That is some.
What's
really
awesome is that there's a song out there that they played that's called Boot and Rally. That song, I mean, that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what happened anyway with Alcide? Finally, you think, and we talked about it, that he ended up Alcide pulled a Magic Mike move on.
He did.
Somebody's using their skills.
Everybody. It was what I learned at stripper camp. I swear, this is what Steven Soderbergh taught the man. He came back and he was like, I'm on True Blood and I'm going to throw some Magic Mike business up on Little Miss Anna Paquin, because there was a moment there that I was like, hello.
Right.
I won't say his character's name in the film because it's a curse word.
No worries.
It's Big D.
Okay, fantastic.
Hopefully y'all got that.
Yes.
Yes, he did pull some Magic Mike business.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so...
But he threw up. And then she threw up on him. I thought that was great.
Yeah, and I literally thought they were going to finally hook up. And they got us again.
It's fantastic.
You know why I liked it? Because I think I love what the show is doing with Sookie this season. Because this is more of the Sookie that I had envisioned throughout when I was reading the books. And then so when the series started, I was like, this isn't really how I pictured Sookie. And I'm not just talking about physically. Physically, Anna Paquin wasn't how I pictured Sookie, because Sookie was like a brick house.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I heard that she's more like Hadley, actually.
She's more like Hadley. She's more like she's
curvaceous.
She's very curvaceous.
Right,
she's like, she's like, but Anna Paquin's absolutely stunning. So she has that going for her, and that's sort of similar,
But I think it's more so, it's like alluding to what you're about to say about Sookie, is her character wasn't so damsel in distressing.
Not at all.
In the books.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Well, then this is actually coming, like you said, this is more towards that style, because just when you expect her to be a little bit more of what she's been in the past, which is kind of more of a victim, it's great to see, the three of them are barking at each other, literally, but that was a great little scene.
Love that moment.
Great little scene when they're all just sitting there, rah, 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 and she's that in her head, that's how it's playing out, which she giggles to. That's a lovely little moment that I thought for her as a character development. Then now she's learning to find the humor in, it must be Thursday. And then when when they're later on the episode, I love that little line where she's like, look, I've got to pee something fierce and I've got a hangover, so let's just get this done.
Yeah.
That kind of head strength, I don't know if that's a noun, but I just made it one.
Okay.
I love seeing that little character development in her.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned it, that, you know, she made a joke of it must be Thursday, but in essence, actually, I think what she was saying is she's accepting her destiny. This
She
is
really
my life.
is. She really is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's exactly it. Just she accepts it, and it is what it is. She's taking the bull by the horns. She's, you know, this independent, you know, she's had this independence all this season.
Yeah.
Well, it's been maybe like in True Blood
In
world, it's
True
like 2
Blood
weeks.
world, it's like 2
week?
weeks. It may be a week. Yeah, maybe not even that, because in True Blood world, I mean, we've maybe gone like a year in all of the seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just seeing her take
Well,
charge.
there was the 1 year that she was in Fairyland.
It's nice. She's actually there's an element of Buffy. There's a Buffy-esque
Yeah.
element to her, a cheeky kind of acknowledgement that this is my destiny. Okay, let's get this. Let's get this over with. Let's get it on.
Well, I think too, the other thing is that's great. The character that you're talking about, the one that's how Sookie was. She was wry, very funny. You know, she would constantly be self-deprecating and also making fun of other people. She was great. Like, she just had that sense of humor. She had a sense of humility that this Sookie, I thought, was missing for a while, where she would just go up against the vampires and smack Eric way too early. She needed to earn the point where she was like, you know what? I'm the one with the microwave fingers, so it looks like I'm saving y'all. But she still understands the danger that she's in. Like, I just think she's reached the end of her rope with the BS. And now she's coming into her own to a character I really want to get behind.
Absolutely.
See, and so in essence, maybe Alan Ball played it right, because he made us wait so long to gradually grow into that character that we've read in the books.
No, I wish they would have done it earlier.
Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you the truth, because there was a long period of time with Sookie that I felt like the whole I like Anna Paquin a lot, and I obviously like the show a lot because I've been talking about it for 5 years. But what I thought was missing was that she would get a little holier than thou, and that she and Bill would sort of preachify here and there, and I thought that's not in her character. She's not like that. She's just really like, she's the type of person that's like crawling through the swampland, having been attacked by a wolf, and she sits down and she's like, you know what, I'm really considering throwing a fit right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to. Let's just go do this shit. And she knows no matter what she does, no matter where she goes, these vampires will never leave her alone.
That's an interesting point you just made up, or that you just brought up. And I was thinking to myself as you were saying it, that it seems like they kind of had Tara kind of take over that. Look at all this stuff that's happening to me. I'm going to throw a fit right about now. Whereas you were seeing, Anna Paquin portraying Sookie kind of more as a person with a little bit more of a victim complex component to it. Now Tara is in her own world trying to figure out what the heck she's doing. So now it's nice to see kind of Sookie away from her shadow, being like, okay, look at all this stuff happening to me. Let's go figure something out. I'm snapping my fingers for everybody who can't see that, but it's a really interesting point that you brought that up, and I definitely agree with it. Yeah, for sure.
And so, what do you guys think about her? And we called it the Scooby-Doo bunch.
It was like
search for Russell.
It was like an awesome Scooby gang. Like, that is a Scooby gang that I can get on board with.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Any day of the week, I would climb that Scooby gang like a tree.
I'm sure, because you're referring to Eric and Alcide and and Russell too. Really?
Not so much Russell.
No,
a little bit less. A little bit less. So.
When you guys saw the bits,
I love Russell though.
Yeah, when you guys saw the bits, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't know if anybody else got this, but did any of you, when you're watching her follow her, the guy's visions? The construction worker, the head, the guy.
Yeah.
Did Russell not give you a slight Voldemort-esque look? I mean, let's face it. He's small. He's red. He's in a blanket. No, Voldemort, Harry Potter. Nobody. Besides me.
No, believe me. I crashed a wedding in order to. Jenna's texting us. I crashed a wedding in order to get the 7th Harry Potter book. I could see some Voldemort. I could see that a little bit, but
I'm just saying, it had a hint of it to me.
Well, since we're here, let's talk about who the woman is.
Yeah.
It's Salome. Come on.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Someone said it was Nora. I was like, no. It's Salome.
It's Salome.
Well, it would be hard for Nora to be doing that. She's in a cell getting hit by UV lights every time.
No. But when they did,
you're talking about before. Was that? Well,
Yeah.
are we assuming that happened? Are we assuming that happened before they all got caught?
It had to have.
Yeah, yes, I'm assuming that.
In my timeline, it's quite possible. You're right.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely assuming that it's Salome because this is what I love about the Salome character. I feel like she is so brilliant. She is taking over from the inside and the outside.
Right.
Are you sure her name is Salome?
No, what do you think her name is? Could it be Lilith?
That's what I'm thinking.
You think so?
I think she's Lilith.
Oh, dun, 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 dun. So the whole story she told about her childhood as Salome was inaccurate?
I mean,
or it was her childhood as Lilith.
Or her child, except that was what happened with Salome, with John the Baptist.
Right, because...
Well, I mean, maybe it didn't.
There have been interviews with Salome. Is it Valentina Certi, I believe?
I think so.
Who plays Salome, and she says that Lilith has been seen. We just don't know who she is yet. She's made her presence known already.
Lilith has made her presence known, but we don't know who she is.
So that leads me to believe it could possibly be Salome.
Well, that would be a phenomenal. It would be a great great theory. And heaven knows they've done everything to allude to all that.
Yeah.
You know, between the special nature of Salome's relationship with Nora,
the
fact that she's the only one that knows Nora's connection to Eric,
right,
and the fact that when she was, crossing her heart and hope to die, that she would never tell Nora's secret. There was that moment when she breathes into her ear and Nora's crying as if, a child would do. They consider themselves daughter and mother.
Yes.
That whole, there's all kinds of stuff. Plus, like you said, she's definitely working stuff from the inside. There's all kinds of things going on with her eyes and subtext when she's talking to Roman.
Well, there's another lady who is in the Vampire Authority that could be.
You don't
think so?
I don't think so. Especially last week we mentioned, I thought that she had unearthed Russell. Yeah. And I believe Jenna said her arc was only for 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So then that would not be Lilith. So let's take down our possibilities. So could it be Nora? No, because Eric's known her the whole time, right?
And there would be some sort of connection there.
And plus, we saw too in the preview that she was the one that said it's finally happening. She's a worshiper. You can tell this is a follower, not a leader.
Yeah.
Okay, so could it be somebody that we don't know from the Authority?
The only 2 people in the Authority
that are not in the Authority
would a surprise individual that comes out of nowhere. That would be a difficult
that
thing.
we've seen but not much of.
Did we talk about it last week? Possibly, and I don't think it's this person, but if we're just throwing out names, Pam?
No.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
I like that though.
I mean, if we're just I believe it was you threw it out.
Well, I said
we made
that
the illusion that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say. I think you had said that Pam could be a sanguinista.
Well, I think she could be swayed that way. I think she could be swayed that way. Yes, I do.
Since she's been released by Eric and whatnot.
Yeah.
That could build, the love that they had, and now they've just become mortal enemies.
Yeah.
But it would destroy the fabric of the show for me, I think, because it's just their relationship was so beautiful.
Wait,
so beautiful.
I'm sorry, you're saying Pam could be mortal enemies with Eric?
Yes.
I don't think they developed that. I think they developed exactly the opposite, that they're released, but they'll still be loyal to each other till the end.
No, the only reason, because we're throwing out names, and it has to be a woman that pulled Russell out. So I'm thinking it's either Lilith Salome. Or Pam.
Okay, so let's put a pin on this for a minute, guys, and put on our thinking hats, and let's talk about Amazon for just a quick second, because you guys, hey, if you shop on Amazon, and who doesn't? I mean, literally everyone does. This is true, because Jenna will get drunk, as she's talked about quite often, and buy things like swords and ballet slippers and things like that. I will always buy media, so I pretty much always buy books or movies on Amazon. But if you like to buy things on Amazon, and we know you do, go ahead and do us a solid and go to the AFTERBUZZ site, click on the Amazon banner, and do your shopping that way, because we get goodies, and then we get to keep doing things like the show. We love doing this show. You guys do a few shows. We do Eureka as well. We love doing this. It's a lot of fun. But as much as we love bringing it to you for absolutely free, things cost money in life. And so this is just a way for you to help support us, really easy way with something you're going to do anyway.
I got a big screen through Amazon. So
you did?
Yes,
So
this is like 2 years ago, but if I buy another one, I'll go through AFTERBUZZ. I wonder how much. Ooh, that'd be pretty good.
That would be pretty
good.
awesome.
I did the exact same thing and thought the same thing. I was like, I should have just waited another month before buying that big screen, because I guarantee you that would have been an awesome little kickback.
Maybe you could return it and then rebuy it and buy it through the banner. I know that's a lot of work, but
I actually still have all the packaging.
You might be able to do that.
Hey,
you guys,
dude,
please support AFTERBUZZ. Thank you. So Miss Jenna has texted us to say the hospital which she is in does not have HBO. She's very sad she didn't get to see the episode yet. Otherwise, she was going to call in and say hello to herself. But she says hello and she sends her love to everyone.
Hi, Jenna.
And what I happen to know her purchase this week on Amazon was,
what did she buy?
Well, you guys, last week she talked a little bit about bacon chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate with bacon in it, and she bought us all some bacon with chocolate with bacon, pardon me, and I forgot it. I'm so sorry because I was going, well, in my defense, I was going between feeding her animals and taking them out for walks and going to the hospital where she was. So I, in the midst of all that, forgot. But we will make sure to have it the very next.
We seriously
next
need to
time.
reconsider your decision-making paradigm.
We really.
She bought some for me.
I mean,
right?
Did she buy some from Ben?
You got three
Right.
dudes here, all looking for bacon chocolate.
Yes.
Let's get
Okay,
it.
all
Let's get
right.
it done.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. Okay, so I'm pretty convinced that Salome is our culprit, and that Salome is a mad genius because what she did. This is what I think is really great about the Authority storyline, and we've talked about this a little bit. Is that they're kind of looking at this idea that, and this is where Jason, I think, his journey is going to go to a little bit. Is this idea that if you're too dogmatic, even if you're have the right idea, you go to the wrong place ultimately. If you're too extreme, so even
That's been a reoccurring theme.
that's been a reoccurring
Steve
theme.
Newland, you name it. Let's see who else can be. There's a few characters. I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been reoccurring.
Even the Maynard.
Exactly.
You know, she was so committed, and at the
Yeah.
end, it turned out to be not what she thought was going to happen.
Right, exactly. So I think that has been a reoccurring theme. But I think that what's brilliant about what Salome is doing is she's actually saying something really legitimate. So on the outside, we assume that she's the one sort of getting Russell out of the ground and wanting to, on the outside, create a uprising, a real uprising with him as the figurehead. But on the inside, what she's saying to Roman, because Roman's being so extreme and so dogmatic and probably going down ultimately not such a great path. Yeah. But what they're raising questions about is she says, oh, no. I'm not telling you to kowtow to the extremists. I'm just saying throw them a little bone. And so that's the way she's sort of trying to chip away at it. And I don't, she may be Lilith, but I somehow would be surprised if they made it that easy. I really would.
Now that you explained it that way, it does. It makes sense that it would. They never do anything too easy. It's not an easy way out. I mean, we're a little too savvy, and we'd be like, "Oh, is that the way you guys solve it?" No, but it's got to be. Who else could be Lilith?
Well, my only other thought about any of this, and I keep having this feeling that the fairies are responsible for a lot more than we think that they are. I'm not saying that one of the fairies is Lilith at all, but my only other thought about Russell was that it's actually not. That it's maybe, if it's not Salome, which I do think it is, but if it's not Salome, then it's the fairies that let him out, and that they did so to get them to tear themselves apart from the to start a war in the vampire community, so then they can come in and wipe them out really easily. That's kind of what I feel like they.
I love that theory.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool if that ended up happening?
It would be very cool, and a nice way to blend in what we were already kind of wondering about is with that fairy component, like where is that storyline going? We've all of a sudden revisited again, and I know that you and Jenna were talking about how it's being taken a little different direction in the books, and it's not exactly making sense, like what are they there for, what's their agenda, but this would be a nice way of bringing them into the fold and having it all make sense.
Right.
Wouldn't you say this season's actually very similar to season 1 with the amount of intrigue?
Yes.
Yes.
Which is what drew us to this show, that first season in the first place, which we then ended up missing a little bit with other people becoming the major antagonists for that season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I think that you're absolutely right. It's tapping back into this idea of a large mystery, and and it's also bringing in the elements that happen in the other seasons by having everybody kind of play in part, because Renee was one thing. It was one really simple, clear thing. This is a lot of different arms to it and elements to it. I mean, here's the other question, you guys, and I know we were talking about this. We did see at the end. Okay, I think, and this is what I said earlier before I even saw the preview, that Russell was faking how weak he was. I think he's probably operating at like 75-80%, and he's acting
which
like
is like 150% for some younger vampires.
Which is about 150% for anyone else in that room.
Right, he's 3,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
Remind me, quick question, and how old is Roman again?
That's a good question.
I thought he was, I may be way off. I read somewhere, I thought he was actually young. I thought he was only like 500 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know off the top of my head.
See, I'm looking at chat roll right now, see if they can answer. If you guys,
know.
Yeah, send us the age if you guys know for sure.
Well, along the same lines, that's what I would ask to you guys as well, is as far as, in my opinion, the way that they've set up this concept of, vampires and age and strength becoming of that age, I would just wonder if Salome would befit a Lilith. It just seems like she's still a little more connected to humanity, the human experience, the revenge that she does, because it's kind of like something like the way they handled it in Queen of the Damned, for example. By the time the first came along, she was raw power incarnate.
Yeah.
Even when she was finally reawakened.
Yeah. When
now, do you guys feel like Salome has kind of established herself as someone who would befit that role, or is the True Blood Compendium setting up Lilith as a similar kind of character, or something altogether different, like not necessarily this end-all be-all character, but someone more accessible?
I don't know. That's a really good question, because you're right. In Queen of the Damned, I mean, the first was like a whole other entity. You know what I mean? And that's a different mythology.
Right.
But it would, you're talking about someone that is, as if their theories are to be believed,
right? Okay.
As old as the Earth itself, So kind of.
Don't you people ever die?
I don't know what it said.
I don't know either.
Don't you people ever stop?
Die.
Oh.
Don't you people ever die?
Oh, die.
Don't
you people ever die?
No. I mean, I don't know. I think that Salome is, that's a really good point. But if we've seen her, who else would it be?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm trying to figure out if there's anybody that they would bring out of the woodwork that we haven't seen or has just maybe been alluded to, and that would be yet another. How many different people are you going to bring into the fold?
Yeah, exactly. At that point, how many can you really bring into the fold? So we're hoping that it's a character, and you guys go ahead and leave your comments and let us know your theories about that. But we'll move on. Let's talk about why Alcide wolfed out at the very end of the episode with Russell.
I can't go. I can't go there without it being a spoiler.
Okay.
So
I mean, here's one thing we know, and I don't know that if this is connected, but I'll just throw it out there. We know for a fact that Russell had control of wolves, and so, but he didn't have control of Alcide. But I'm wondering if there's some residual way that he got control of Alcide. I don't know how he would have done it.
It has to be maybe someone, what I'm thinking, someone close to Alcide, or something from his past, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe something from his past. Possible spoiler. All right.
Well, but that's not to say. So, quick question: did Alcide wolf out because of some other? I mean, obviously, he at one point senses wolves have been here.
Yeah.
So, is he in reaction to the fact that he sees something that we just haven't seen yet, or is it something that he's being made to do because of possible Russell Edgington powers?
Yeah, I don't know, or some kind of power that's there. Here's the thing. Russell Edgington used wolves to protect him. We know that. And we know that you're not going to have gone to all the trouble of digging Russell Edgington up and nursing him back to life with all of these human chattel, and then leave him unprotected.
Right.
You're going to have him protected. So my thought is that there are some wolves up in that business that were already there, that were protecting him, and it's possible that one of the other wolves, through some connection that may exist, has enough control over Alcide to command him to go wolf.
Oh, hell to the no!
Oh, hell to the yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, hell to the yes.
Now, and speaking of wolves, what about Sam and Emma and
let's talk about that.
Luna.
Cutest baby wolf ever.
That was huge. That was
huge.
huge.
Siberian husky, right? Little baby wolf.
I think it was
or
a baby.
I think
it was a Siberian husky. Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay. Big.
I thought you said Bing.
Bing. Big.
Okay.
Do you think?
I think it's the Frog Brothers. I think
it's the Frog Brothers.
I think that's isn't it similar to the books? There was a killer.
Yeah, well, in the books there was more, and this is what we're saying. It ties into kind of some of the themes of the show. There was definitely a segment of the human population that was bigoted towards soups. You know, and they're using that language now, soups, for supernaturals, and that went out and did, and that would happen. We know that would unfortunately and sadly enough happen in our world.
Right.
You know, there would be people that did that.
Sure. And to bring us up to date, the Frog brother. It was the gentleman who ran that little shop to kill vampires, right?
Yeah, or in his language, protect yourself from them. Yes, yeah.
So, and we see him in the preview for next week as well. So you're like, okay, I'm kind of putting it together. It may not be, but it seems it's alluding to the fact that these are the guys behind the shifters, you know, being killed, and just about because just the bullets, even the bullets they're shooting them with are wooden bullets, right? And they've got silver inside.
So they would kill a vampire, they would kill a werewolf, they would kill a shifter, they would kill any kind of supernatural. They're designed that way, And I think it's really like a hate crime is what I'm taking as. It's just a straight up full on hate crime, and I think probably that Emma is gonna run to her pack, because she's scared. She's going to run to her grandma. And then Sam's going to have a fight on his hands to get her back because he doesn't want her raised with Luna, because I think Luna's dead. I do. It's
that
sad.
breaks my heart. I love Luna. I do. I have that same feeling for Luna as you have for Eric, Alcide, Bill.
She's beautiful. But I love Luna too. I mean, I really like that character.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's really sad for Sam.
Yeah, because especially how they had left off.
Yeah.
You know, she was protecting Emma a few weeks ago, and you knew she wasn't in the right place. She was protecting her child. She had a lot of stuff going on, and if this is the way she died, it was almost with some unresolved, you know.
Yeah.
There's a few things that weren't resolved between her and Sam.
Right.
And it's a shame for her to just be killed like that.
I know, it's a shame. It's a shame for her. Oh my goodness, we have to move on to some other things too. It's really a shame because we really like her character a lot. But I actually, as a story arc, I think it's going to be. I know this is terrible thing to say, but I do think it's going to be an interesting thing for Sam to kind of have to reconcile himself to not only that grief, but we've talked about how this season is all about lineage and parenting, and to wrestle between the fact that he's now going to probably want to take care of Emma and do as Luna would have wanted for her daughter, which is not to be raised by wolves.
Fantastic.
But the conflict and the tension is going to be she's a wolf.
Right.
And she's going to need that pack to some degree.
And that pack is probably applies some sort of pressure.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So speaking of lineage, and then we have to wrap up with what happened to Terry this week because it's so huge.
Yes, we have to talk about Terry.
But let's touch on Tara, Pam, and Hoyt, because you know what I loved about this? I loved that they crafted it so that Jessica and Tara became like best girlfriends for about 2 minutes before she went after her man. And I was like, this is some amazing, intense vampire girl business.
Right.
That's some intense hair pulling.
No, and the neat thing is that you notice it's all the ancillary characters. Their stories are coming. It seems like they're the leads this season.
Yeah.
For me, compared to, like, I know Bill and Sookie, and we've got all that going on with them, but it's just neat seeing, like, Jessica's role, being there for Jason, just being, where's Newland? You know, I'm sure the interactions.
Oh, he'll pop up,
but just Jessica has so many things to do this season.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic. And she actually started somewhat training Tara, you could say.
Yeah, she did. Well, I love that moment because you could tell for sure that these two probably don't have anybody else to talk to. I mean, they really don't have anybody but each other. And I loved how they kind of, like, you know, because Tara's such a tough cookie, but she let her guard down in that moment, and she was like, okay, it was great. And wasn't this amazing? And you would want someone to share that bonding experience with. And of course, what happens when some dude gets up in there and messes it up right away? Hoyt is on a path of self-destruction.
Yes, he is.
Now, do you think you think that's going to get messed up, that dynamic that they're, or are they going to get over it?
Oh, no.
No?
That friendship lasted about that long. That's done.
So it's done and done, really.
You know, that's funny. I was talking to somebody else about it. I hope not, because I actually really liked that moment, and I think they need each other more than either one of them needs to be messing with Hoyt. I love Hoyt as a character,
right?
And I'm sad that he's going down this path, and I hope that it works out for him. But I think they need each other. I mean, I really think they need that friendship more than they need to be dating Hoyt
Right.
at this point in their existence.
And they have an eternity that they're going to share on this planet, so they got to figure out how to kind of make it work.
They
out.
do, and they have no one else to
have no
talk
companions,
to.
really.
They have no real companions. I really think they need each other. And when they fought those, this is the interesting thing really quickly though, technically speaking, I mean, Jessica should be a lot stronger than Tara because she's
And more
older
well-trained.
and more well
Bill trained her in combat.
Right.
But Tara was such a fighter in her real, like, human life that they're oddly evenly matched.
Yeah, you don't mess with Street.
You don't. And then, of course, there's Pam coming in, and we thought they were going to have a maternal dynamic. Less so this week.
So much for that.
Yeah.
I
Less
told you
so.
it's the Kenny Powers parent. If other HBO show,
Kenny
You
Powers
called
parody.
it.
I'm telling you. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
who knows what's gonna happen with them? You know, I don't know. There's so many characters. Literally, I don't know what to say about them.
I know.
And I want to
Breathe.
move on to Terry. I
Yeah,
just
let's
want
move
him
on.
to please.
Okay, we have to move on to Terry, but I will say this. I do hope that whatever happens between Tara and Pam comes back to a little bit more of the maternal sort of exploration, because I think we need that and they need that. And the Scooby Gang, as far as they're concerned, I love, speaking of tensions in the bro and sister romances, cis-mans and bromances, I do like that Eric and Bill were like, I don't trust Nora, well, I don't trust you, and I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm glad that that tension between them is coming
still
up
there.
and it's still there. As much as they're having fun in the byplay and the joking, that's a real dynamic. That's a real relationship. I think the writers are doing an excellent job with that storyline. Okay, Terry, you guys, this is the event of the night.
Absolutely.
Terry killed someone in cold blood.
Well, he was ordered to do so.
Oh, whoa.
Technically.
He was ordered to do it.
He was
That-
ordered to do that by his superior officer.
Is that your real answer? Like, my God.
Absolutely.
They do experiments about how entire genocides happen because people have that mentality.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying what happened.
But it's an order. He has to follow an order.
No, he doesn't.
Well,
you
no, he
always
doesn't.
have
Not
choice.
as a soldier. Yeah, you're
You
supposed to be
always
able to
have
question
choice
a
in
moral
life.
order.
Okay.
There's always choice. You can defy that order, and he probably get killed for it, but you can defy that order and then bring it up in military court. And that's a fascinating thing that you said, because I think that that's, for most people, there are literally entire experiments done about how human beings will follow orders to an alarming degree,
Right.
in the face of, and this is a really heightened circumstances because they've already killed these people and they've already done murder and there are drugs and it's crazy. But I think that Terry's character had been established for years and years and years as being a damaged but fundamentally good human being. And now what do we think? Now what do we think about his character?
I still think the same. He was just put in a position that that he made a choice. It was the wrong one, but then again, he's human,
Right.
and that's what it does. My opinion doesn't change of Terry's character.
Okay.
I do see. I know. I mean,
I'm not saying wrong. I'm just saying
no. But I just see, given the situation, they were drunk. They were on LSD.
Yeah.
There was
that's
just
true.
so many things
Yeah.
going on at the level. And when you're in that war zone, friends of mine that were in the war.
Well, my
they're
brother
nev-
was in the military too.
Yeah,
It does change you.
You're never the same. So given that situation, that's what happened. So now they're all paying the price for that, which is is it Ifrit?
Ifrit.
Ifrit.
Yeah.
Ifrit.
Well, let's talk about Terry and then let's talk about that,
Okay,
because I
sure.
think that's cool. I actually do.
What's
But with Terry, I'm just curious because when I watched it, I went because you guys know, Jenna and I, listen, we have been talking about this character for a long time. We had a running joke. I'm going to marry Terry. No, I'm going to marry Terry. Okay, we'll be sister wives.
I think that's why he's running behind.
Yes, but we maybe scared him a little bit. But it's okay, Todd. We won't stalk you. Maybe. So this is what I think. I had really mixed feelings because on that level that I was attached to this character, I felt brokenhearted to see that he did that. But to your point, I thought, would I do anything different? I don't know. In those circumstances, I
Right.
really feel like it's so human to, in that moment, make that tragic decision. And the level of his damage and the level of his the PTSD and the level of his emotional damage and the degree to which he wants to be a good man, he is desperate to be a good man, suddenly makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I think if Alan Ball knew this all along, my God, this has been an amazing development.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with Roth on this one. And it's interesting because I assumed exactly the opposite of you. Is I assumed that this was what had actually happened.
Okay.
I assumed that and thought that it would make much more sense to me that because of that desperation, because he wanted so much to just have a very simple life and just be a good man and just cook meals and have a wife that
and be
he had,
great to
and
her.
be great to, and that there had been some very serious darkness in his past, which now finally gets validated. Whether or not you're behind it or on board with it is one thing, but I just actually assumed that he's not that I don't think that he's not a good guy. Todd, you're a great guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't think that Terry or Todd in his portrayal that he wasn't good. I just think that even bad things happen to good people. And like you said, people are
Tragic,
put in, people are put in
mistakes.
circumstances where they have to make a judgment call, and plenty of times people make the other call.
Right. That's true. I mean, it's oddly, this is probably maybe my favorite storyline that True Blood has done, because I think it's so rich, like in terms of it's complex, and I have a very complex, I guess, or nuanced reaction to it, which I think is great when you're watching a television show, and it makes me question, sort of my own humanity and what I would do, and then why other people do what they do. And it's in that moment that you can, in a moment, make a decision like that will affect the rest of you're never coming back from that. You're never coming back from that. I would probably melt down right there and just die. But like, you're never coming back from having done something like that.
Well, but that's not to say that whole experience, I mean, obviously, once you go to war, once you've been trained to kill and think in those things, you're never coming back from that mindset. That changes your life. So for this to be the cap on what seems to be his tour, where they had gone through this experience, and this is kind of how things ended up, that's one heck of a way to go out.
Yeah, I agree.
One heck of a way to go out.
Now, I
was just gonna say, just add to what Yerman was saying, is they had already wiped out the whole village as well.
You're right.
So no matter what, they were gonna have demons.
Nice. They were gonna have demons. Here's my thing. This is the difference to me. It's kind of, and I think it's making a nice parallel with what Sookie did with Debbie Pelt, because the difference to me is this. It's the difference between first degree and manslaughter. Not technically, it was all first degree murder. It was murder. They had committed murder. But what I mean is that in a fit of drug-induced confusion and rage, where you inaccurately thought those people were a threat to you, and you're in a war zone and you open fire, versus cold-bloodedly staring at a woman's face and then going, cap. But you know what I mean? There is, I think, an emotional difference in that. That's really calculated. That's really like, you had the time to think and not do it, and you did it. And I think
it's worse what Sookie did. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. I'm not saying, because I think Sookie is oddly enough some combination of the two. It was she literally was threatened by Debbie. Debbie was going to kill her.
Right.
She literally had just killed her best friend, but she had that moment to think about it, and she chose to shoot her head off. Terry was strictly saving his own ass and the ass of his friends, because they had they had already killed these other people, and had they saved this woman, she was gonna bring charges against them.
That right there makes that so then that kind of kills me on the whole character thing, that he was covering his own butt.
He was covering his own butt, and like you said, in that moment he had a decision to make. He made the wrong one, but it's very human, because people have self-preservation. We all have a really strong sense of self-preservation, and in his own way, it was me or them.
Well, this
Kill or
also
be killed.
This also touches extreme. This has all kinds of overreaching or overarching undertones about, what it's like to be in the military, what it's like to be in a military unit. The guy's like, what's the only rule we have to care about? The man to your right and the man to your left. That kind of mentality is, it as much as it seems completely unswerving and very one-dimensional, it saves your life. At the same time, how does one interpret that? I mean, the fact that they're touching on these things when they are so much still at the forefront of current
supernatural silly show.
It's like it's a show now about soups, and in the meantime, they're really kind of throwing in some stuff about let's talk about what's happening in the world. That is phenomenally brave.
I agree with you, and I think that True Blood actually has always done a great job of being a really fun to watch, enjoyable show that had a lot of silly elements in it, and then it would throw in some themes that were really relevant in our world. But it's funny. I just want to say really quickly, I watched a documentary the other day that was about emotions. Anyway, whatever. But one of the subjects in the documentary had PTSD. He had been in Vietnam, and he said that very thing. He said when he was in Vietnam, it was kill or be killed, kill or be killed. You don't even think about it. But when he came back, that's when the PTSD really kicked in. And there was another gentleman, a soldier who had been in Iraq, who had a similar experience. And yeah, that is the mentality, kill or be killed. And the truth is, like, if you're in that mindset 24 hours a day and everyone is the enemy, maybe you make a decision you wouldn't make in your everyday life.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know. It's tough because that's a pretty hard thing to come back from.
I mean, we can keep going on and on about it. Just breaking it down to the nanosecond of the choice he made and given the situation he's in, and we will possibly even flip-flop back and forth. So you kind of empathize and understand possibly what Terry was going through.
Absolutely. And I think that's really cool. Let's also talk about this, because here's the deal. I have a couple of people that have been saying, oh, I didn't like the fact that they brought in a supernatural element to the storyline. And I had been saying something similar. Does this story really need a supernatural element? I like it. I'll tell you why I like the supernatural element of the storyline. There's 3 reasons. The first one is I like that it's from another culture. Because the idea of the show is if these supernatural beings exist, if our ideas or our mythological creatures exist, well, why wouldn't everybody's? You know what I mean? So I like that it's from another culture. I think that's kind of neat. And I think it's cool for people to learn about it too. It's an opportunity for the audience to kind of learn about something they don't know. The second thing is I oddly enough just have always liked horror movies that feature like a vengeance ghost. I don't know what that says about me.
All vengeance movies are awesome, yeah.
But I think it's going to force Terry to reconcile with what he did, and in kind of this supernatural element feels possibly the most organic. It makes sense. What happened in the real world gave birth to what it is in the supernatural world, so I like it. Can I just tell you guys what it is? I mean, I'll read a little bit.
Please.
Hold on. I wrote it down.
The Ifrit?
You guys, the Ifrit. Okay, so it's in Arabic and Islamist culture. Somebody had written in comments that they thought it was going to be a jinn. It is a jinn. It's a kind of jinn, the Ifrit, and it's it's formed from the blood of a murder victim often. Jinn can be good, evil, or natural like human beings, and they're one of the 3 creations of Allah in the Quran, which is human being, jinn, and angels. This is my understanding from like Wiki. So if I'm wrong in any of this, please correct me, because I was fascinated to learn about it. Right. So here's what I'm thinking. There are 2 things that could have happened, that will happen for Terry. Okay. One is that an angelic force can come in and he can find forgiveness. And that will get rid of the jinn. 2, and this is a big one since we'll go into predictions and then early. Okay. He's not going to survive the season.
Yep.
Yes, I wanted to ask.
Do you know all that, Yerman?
Let's just bask in the moment of that statement, and I'm done.
No, do you know about the?
Yes. No, I was familiar. You know, when they said it's an Ifrit, I mean, yeah, everything that you said from Wiki. Yes, and agree and concur, and those are my understandings as well.
Okay.
But you know, it's absolutely. I want to just touch on the fact that I totally agree with you in the sense that we were talking about how they are creating a complete world.
Yeah.
And so now we are seeing magical, supernatural elements of people outside of Louisiana, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We're now global. We're talking about, you know, the Vampire Authority factions in Croatia and Estonia and this, that, and the other in various parts of Europe. We're now a Middle Eastern component. They just opened the whole thing up, which is phenomenally exciting to see, because now it's not just about a few vampires and humans battling it out in bon temps.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And you know, as far as, good gosh, the second prediction, as far as whether or not he comes or goes, or...
We'll save it for predictions. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're. Do you want to talk about Terry?
No. I'm just. You guys pretty much hit everything you guys said, because I have a prediction on what's going to happen.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, first, before we do that, we're coming up on the hour here, but how about a little bit of news, JC?
That's right.
AfterBuzz
Yes.
TV News.
This is a bit.
This just in.
It's news and gossip.
News
there we
and
go.
gossip.
Keep it kind of light since the episode was so heavy.
Yeah.
Well, it was reported by CelebrityGossip.net as Anna Paquin was seen stepping out of Boa Steakhouse in West Hollywood late last night in this ravishing black dress and open-toe shoes. And I'm telling you, that's good because she's in her second trimester.
Yeah, she is. She is.
So she's still rocking it out, looking wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, she was stopped and they asked her about Alan Ball leaving the show.
Yeah.
And I quote, she basically said, I have huge abandonment issues, and she sends him letters weekly, basically seeing if he, please don't leave. But she did go on to say that she knows that by him leaving, he left because he knows the show is in amazing hands.
Yes.
And the show is now going over to co-producer Mark Hudis.
Yes.
I believe so. And he worked on seasons 4 and 5.
Right.
So it's going to be in great hands. And she has said another reason why he hasn't slept in 6 years since they started prepping for the show. So
I bet.
Time for a break for him. So
Yeah. Well, he's working on another show, though.
That's right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do we know what that show is by chance?
And he's not going to be involved in the show.
Yeah, he'll be involved. He's prepping another show. I want to say North Carolina, but I could be wrong. We'll bring that up next week.
I'll find out for you guys next week. And
Excellent.
yeah, we'll keep it light and keep it short and sweet. And that's just a little bit of news and gossip.
Dun, 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 dun. Now that we have the news and gossip, I want to hear but I want the music. Thank you.
Yes, please.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Dun, 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 dun. I want to hear it. Throw it on me because you make some amazing predictions, JC.
lay it down, JC. Wait.
I
All
can
right.
give.
Okay, go.
I almost don't want to give the Terry one because hopefully we'll have him here next week or in the following weeks. But I think this could be the end of Terry.
I do too.
I think.
Really?
Yeah, I
really think. I think Terry. It's the end of Terry. And my other prediction is, and I wrote this one down because I was looking and comparing, all the chat, all the chat rooms and whatnot. The theory floating around, and I kind of agree with it, is that Eric and Bill could possibly kill Lilith because she's going to go after Sookie for her day power, so she can be a day walker. And this could be a trigger for the Fae Vamp War that we've been alluding to. Actually, we've been talking about since for season 6.
Yeah, but here I am. I think that the Faes are already planning that war. I think they have a military installation going on. That's what I really think. But do you have a prediction?
I don't know that. I mean, I think my prediction isn't really so much of a prediction as much as what I wanted to see. And we've already alluded to the fact that I really want to see Jason become this kind of soup hunter,
right?
And kind of come into his own as a much better looking dude, Buffy, who happens to just find himself waking up naked everywhere he goes, which is weird. But I mean, that's just something. They're obviously alluding to it. I don't know. As far as a prediction, it's probably not a prediction. It's more of just because I really want to see him not be just a guy that he's got a gun, he just wants to just hurt something afterwards, but really be really take this seriously, become a methodical, trained, badass guy.
Okay.
I want to see that from him as opposed to somebody that just keeps having sexual encounters and being like,
Okay.
So you're saying Jason Stackhouse, Vampire Hunter.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. That's a spin-off that I think we can pitch, you guys.
Yeah.
I think we should go pitch it to the network tomorrow.
Okay, so what's your prediction, Miss Roth?
Yeah, well, I've talked about some of my predictions,
Okay.
but what I really think is that we're going to find out is that the fairies have been pulling a lot more strings than we think, and that they have been building a power base for quite some time in order to make a massive move. That's what I think.
It makes sense because a lot of people said, what happened to the fairy
Yeah.
storyline since episode 1 of the 4th season? It kind of faded away, but they've been working all along. Where's Claude?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And here they are, and we're going to see a little bit more of them next week. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. We're sad that we didn't have Jenna, but please tweet at her, Jenna Bush, and give her your love.
In lieu of flowers, send her swords.
Send her swords. You can find me on Twitter at JRothC, JROTHC, and you should do so.
And you can find me at The Everyday Man on Twitter.
Totally should. He's lots of fun too.
And you can catch me at Yerman Gur, YERMANGUR.
Do it. All
Do
right.
it.
Follow AfterBuzz. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes. Please leave us a sweet comment and rate us well. And
Absolutely.
watch us on YouTube and do it all, my friends. All right. Thanks, True Blood lovers.
Nice.
But wait, spoiler alert.
What?
Not
What?
spoiler alert, but breaking news, kind of. Breaking.
Breaking.
What does Ben Bottomley have for us? Wait.
In 1 week, Breaking Bad season 5 premieres. And it's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna do an awesome show for it.
Ooh.
And everyone should watch it.
Watch that. And hey, as long as we're pitching other AfterBuzz show, watch me and Jenna on Tuesday nights at 10 from Eureka. watch JC.
On The Bachelorette and on Duets.
And Yerman.
And you can watch me on Tuesday nights at 9 for Real Housewives of New York.
There you go. Pitch.
Breaking Bad. Hey, I'm from New Mexico, and I love that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's the final season. We know
Okay.
that it's broken in 2 parts, so definitely starts next week on July 15th.
Yes. Tune in.
Tune in to AfterBuzz, guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Good time. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.